With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Schefter. Hello. Old Schefter. Adam Schefter. Known him for years. Adam Schefter with ESPN. He'll be calling us in a second. And, my relationship with Adam began after the 2009 NFC title game.
Oh,
Bountygate 2010. I met him there. And then after the Minneapolis Miracle, I went on his podcast, so we got to know each other a little better then. Then Nordo and I would be going to the Combine, and I quickly learned that Adam Schefter, his passion is it's kind of like, I mean, we're kindred spirits in that, we both talk about the NFL and we both work closely with the NFL. We both love the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's been in a big spot fantasy basketball league for about 15-ish years. Yours truly has been part of a big spot fantasy basketball league started by Edina's Rick Kamla.
Ask him to join LFL. Might have an opening.
Called League Freak. I wouldn't mind having him in that thing. But if he were to outwork everybody, I wouldn't be surprised. And so that's kind of the genesis of the relationship. Didn't get an opportunity to record an interview this year at the Indianapolis Scouting Combine with beloved Schefter, but he's kind enough to help us now, despite being underwater with all these breaking news stories. ESPN senior NFL insider Adam Schefter. It's Paul Allen. How are you?
Hello there, Paul. How are we doing?
Quite well. The dancing I just saw in studio on ESPN with Windhorse et al., was that live or was that recent?
I didn't see what they played, but yesterday we were in studio and Harry Douglas does his weekly That Boy Bad segment, and Wendy had never been a part of it before. I'd done it during the season. And, of course, I've demonstrated horrible dance moves and coordination, and yesterday Wendy got involved, and he might have been worse than me.
They don't compensate you to dance, and in Michael Jackson-like fashion, you've not been known to moonwalk on your per sources takes because they're always good. But first, who's the best player on your big spot fantasy basketball team, and how is your juggernaut rolling along?
Right now. Team is trying to procure a second-round buy. Paul, I got to ask you to hold on 1 second. There's an important call. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, Trey Hendrickson may have been traded.
Okay. Here we go.
Maybe the Vikings traded for Myles Garrett, and it's under the cover of darkness. And per sources, we might get some...
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Can you break news on the 9 to Noon show? Anything big?
I wish I could. I'm waiting to do that. Everybody's just waiting. The best player on my team, I'll tell you this week, Tyrese Halliburton has come on recently. He's been great. And he had been okay early on. And Devin Vassell has come on recently. He had been okay also, and now is getting hot. So my guys know what time of year it is, and they're starting to pick it up here, which is good.
Devin Vassell, 11th overall pick in 2020. In 2023, he got a 5-year, $146 million deal. That's the largest in the history of the San Antonio Spurs, passing Tim Duncan in 2003, 7 and 122. What do you think of that, Schefter?
I think Wembanyama is going to surpass that in no time at all, even though he's out for the year. And we need in these next few weeks, we need Vassell to play up to that contract because early on in the year, he was okay. He was okay. That's all he was. He was not that kind of player.
Last one on the NBA for now. Per sources, this Mavericks disaster with the trade and now Kyrie getting hurt for the year, it's unprecedented, isn't it?
It's like taking gasoline to your franchise, and just lighting a match. I mean, it's unbelievable. They blew the whole thing up, right? I mean, that's what they did.
Schefter, where would per sources lead you to believe Sam Darnold will play next season?
I think Sam Darnold is still trying to figure out where Sam Darnold is going to be playing next season. And I don't think he knows right now where he's going to be playing next season. How about that, Paul?
Yeah, I like it. Now, if it were a 0 to 10, what number would you put on he would be starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings next year?
Not high.
Me either.
Not high. Okay, again, as we go over all these scenarios, they're all in play, but I think the Vikings is a down low scenario. I don't view it as a likely scenario right now.
Adam Schefter, ESPN senior NFL insider. He's very kind and very loyal. We missed our Combine Covenant catch-up.
Yeah.
So here's Schefter right now on a busy Friday. Why are the Bengals permitting Trey Hendrickson to seek a trade? I mean, that's 35 sacks the last 2 seasons.
But because they can't pay him what he wants right now. And so I think the way to try to appease him is to say, okay, we can't pay you what you want. Let's see if there's another team that will. If there's another team that will pay you and compensate us, even though we don't want to, we'll trade you. Again, I don't think that's what they want to do, but I think they're in a spot where they feel like they have to. We've seen the pass rush market go up with the deal that Max Crosby got done this week with the Raiders. You're going to see more pass rusher deals this offseason get done. And I think it's a case where the Bengals know that they're not going to pay Trey Hendrickson what he's asking. So, look, if there's a team out there that will, and they'll compensate us, then as much as we don't want to move on for you, we will. I think that's kind of where it's at right now.
I know you're in a hurry and you're the bomb, so 3 quickies to close.
All good.
Do you think when Halliburton returns, Nemhard and Neesmith's numbers will decrease because they've been good of late?
Well, I think both those guys have been solid, and that's what they've been. I have Nemhard on my team, and he's like one of the last guys on. When I get to the playoffs here, looks like I'm going to put away a first-round bye, so I'll have next week as the final week of the regular season, then a bye. So we're talking in 2 weeks. Will Nemhard be on my team? Yeah. Would I cut him that week if I needed to pick up games and product? Yes. Does that make sense? You understand exactly what I'm saying.
100%. Yeah, it's playing the waiver wire game. Do you have any Spurs or Wolves on your team? Well, you got Vassell, you said, but because I get to make my NBA game calling debut Sunday night at Target Center, and
that's big. By the way, congratulations on that, Paul. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. I remember when you were doing some sideline stuff for ESPN. I remember seeing you in Salt Lake City, at Utah, and maybe some other spots. So we're kindred in that state. But nevertheless, got any Timberwolves on your team?
No, I would have loved to have had Jaden McDaniels, and I would love to have had Naz Reid. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the.
So with Myles Garrett, what would you guess would happen with Myles Garrett?
The thing there is that both sides really are just dug in. So I guess my question is, to you, who would you guess blinks first?
I would.
That's really the way of discussing it. And, I felt this all along. How dug in is Myles? Is he prepared to miss games? Is he prepared to sit out training camp when people are starting to question and criticize him? Is he prepared to not be there for his teammates and incur all the penalties that come along and contractual violations forfeiture line. Like, are you willing to do all that? If you are, I think eventually you can get traded. If you're not, the Browns are probably going to win the stare down.
What's very intriguing about that 2 spot for Cleveland, in my opinion, is Kevin Stefanski and Colorado Buffalo's offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur, are very, very, very good friends. So, I mean, you talk about knowing where all the bones are buried on Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. I mean, Kevin holds the Browns, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. I mean, they're in a wonderful spot at 2 with the intel they're going to get on those Buffaloes, right?
Well, I think people will be able to get intel, but I've always felt like Cleveland almost has to go quarterback at 2. And I think quarterback will be 1. So I think, despite the fact that we've got incredible talents in Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, I still think there's a real chance that we're going to see quarterbacks go 1-2 in this draft, despite the fact that there's some great players. I still think that is square in play because of everything that the way the league is, the needs that teams have. They're just hard to find, these quarterbacks.
In the early stages, Schefty, what do you think of Ben Johnson, coach of the Bears? And I kind of like the competitive arrogance where he's like bleep free agency and trades for offensive linemen. So what do you think per sources?
Well, I think that you're paying money to these guys because these guys are a lot of money, and the Chiefs, we're going to struggle to afford Joe Thuney, and the Rams were going to struggle to afford Jonah Jackson. Those things were going to happen, but the Bears are saying, and I agree with this, there's no price that we could put on building our offensive line to protect the most important player in our organization. And they have to do everything that they can to elevate Caleb Williams. And so this is the beginning of those attempts to solidify that offensive line. I don't think they're done. They've already paid a big price for it, but in their mind, it's worth it.
You're always busy, but what's Monday going to be like for you? And does it start at 4 a.m?
Look, I love my job, and I've done my job for 35 years, and I'm blessed to do my job. I guess the best analogy I would use is it's sort of like it's the start of a marathon. And you're going to get through the marathon, and the marathon is going to be long. It's going to be 26.2 hard, and there's going to be moments in that marathon when you're picking up speed, and there's going to be moments where it's going to be tough to get through, and that it's going to be long and hard. And you're not going to really enjoy running that marathon, but you're going to enjoy having run the marathon. And that's the best way I could describe it. Like, it's not something I'm excited about, it's like a nervous energy, anxiety. Look, everybody's got challenges in their own work world. What are we talking about? My world, talking about, tracking free agency. Okay, fine. So I don't want to over dramatize this, but from, just in my job, it's a very chaotic, relentless 72-hour period, basically.
And what's beautiful about Monday and every other day is while all media members are running that marathon and gaining fatigue, you jump in like Rosie Ruiz and steal the show.
Well, I don't know about that, but I've run a lot of marathons.
Right.
And in the end, sometimes they're better than others.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my time will be okay on Monday. But you always want your time to be as good as it can be.
And you've run a lot of marathons while avoiding confrontations in Starbucks lines, I keep my head on a swivel whenever I'm in Starbucks. All right, hey, Schefty, love you, bud. Have a good weekend.
Hey, Paul, love you. We'll be in touch as the NBA Fantasy Playoffs loom closer. Congratulations on your NBA debut Sunday. And that's awesome to see. I know you're going to crush it and do a great job.
I appreciate you, brother. See you later.
See you, bud.
Adam Schefter, ESPN, Senior NFL Insider, 1017. You're listening to KFAN.